this is Seth of In Demand Career. I show people how to get jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And this week, I'm talking with my very special guest, Rashad, who was a biology major in college, graduated, knew that wasn't going to be a very lucrative skill, took my course, and essentially in the last couple of years has tripled his salary. And he reached out to me out of the blue. He took my course back in 2017-18. He was just wanted to thank me, and I'm thrilled that he reached out so that we could talk and share his story with you guys. Thanks so much for being here, Rashad.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. So let's begin like we usually do. What are you doing right now?
So right now I work at a growing agency in which I essentially head the department of digital advertising, to where we focus in on the Google ads, the Facebook ads primarily, LinkedIn ads a little bit as well. But essentially, I head this department of digital advertisement for a company.
That's great. And like, what size accounts are you working on? Like, how much ad budget are you responsible for?
Manage close to 70 accounts, if not a little bit over, across Google and Facebook. Ad spend ranges anywhere on the low end, maybe like $800, all the way up to about $5,000, give or take. So across so it's definitely six figures, high six figures monthly, just kind of managing those accounts.
Awesome. And you were telling me how when you were in college, you weren't making that much money. I know you didn't want to give me a specific number, but how are you doing now? How do you, how do you feel about, your career as it is right now?
I'm extremely grateful, for acquiring the skill in itself, right? Because just kind of going back to that time period, when I was working at an autistic group home, in a transitional living program for youth, right? As they transitioned out of like the CPS system, on their own, right? And at that time I was making anywhere from like $10 to $13. In college, that was okay, because you're kind of balancing things in a sense. But after I graduated, that's when it kind of I had to make a decision, right? Because I graduated with a biology degree. At that point, I originally was planning to go pre-med, right? Or to become a physician assistant, but then things shifted, right? And then I was hit with the kind of a place with myself to where it's like, okay, you have a degree. It's not really going to serve you any purpose unless you go work in a lab or you go med school, right? At that point, I've already kind of put myself in a position to where I was going to be out-competed when it came to med school. So then it shifted to where it's okay, if this paper essentially is not going to really help me significantly, what skill can I acquire that can potentially give me a job and a career, right? Because I was career focused at that point. I was trying to find a career. So with that decision, I did like a quick Google search and I seen like your interviews on YouTube actually. So I was on the other side of kind of this interview here, to where I saw it. First thought, I was like, yeah, this is a scam. Like, this is a scam. This is not real. Like, sounds good. Sounds real good, but yeah, not right. Right. But then I started to watch more of your interviews. Right. And then it was like a common denominator of like, this is not just a course. You're not necessarily just selling something. You're giving me the tools and you're giving me a skill to get a job. Right. And that's where the paradigm shift occurred for me, because it was like, okay, a skill, that's a little different. And if it doesn't work, okay, cool. Like, throw the money. At least I learned a skill. Right.
Right.
So that was kind of what I'm thinking. So at that time, pull the trigger. And I was like, okay, let's give it a chance. If it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, cool. If it does work, I've returned on my investment, right? Tenfold, right?
Yeah.
So ended up taking the course. And I think one of the main things I valued of the course was like how to set up my LinkedIn strategically, the community in itself, like going into the forum and then getting the connections, learning how to build the website and then run the ads to the website. I think I value that so much because when I was going through the interview process, well, let me take a step back. After college, I basically planned that I was going to learn this skill. After I purchased your course, I was going to learn the skill, do everything you told me to do in regards to how I can get a job, move here to Dallas and actually get a job here. And it all worked out. And one thing
just to give people some context, what year was this? Because you were one of my older students.
This was in 2017. I graduated college in 2017. So we're a few years out at this point. So I've developed a decent amount, from the foundation that you provided. So yeah, this was in 2017 when I graduated. So about 2018, this is when I took the course. I think from start to like execution and actually getting a job, it was anywhere between like 3 or 4 months. Because I also had to move fast as well. Because I wasn't trying to, move up here and then kind of be in a weird position of not having a job, not really having opportunities up here. So I kind of had to learn the content really, really quick. So I really just put my head down and grind it to really learn it, right? To learn these systems.
And so you were going to tell us a little bit about the interview process or what happened when you finished the course.
So one thing that I saw as a common denominator with people that interviewed me was that they valued my ability to be a self-starter, right? Like a lifelong learner. And then also taking the initiative to teach myself this skill, right? So like the tools that you gave, that's what set it up. Like it basically, they appreciated that, oh, wow, okay, you set up your own website and you learn this skill, you practice this stuff to basically, get the experience. Because the one thing that I realized after I graduated college is that a degree is cool, but experience is what people seek, right? And without experiences, you put yourself in a weird position to where you lose out on a lot of opportunities, which sucks, but it's the reality of the situation. So that's why I was drawn to your course, because it was like, okay, you're teaching me how to leverage the experience factor of it to be able to put that on my resume, to be able to put that on my LinkedIn, right? Because now I actually do have real life experience of running ads and learning these algorithms and learning the systems in themselves. So when I was interviewing, that was like a common thing was, wow, I'm impressed that, you took the initiative to learn this skill, or wow, you created a website and ran ads to it. Like now they're a little bit more impressed with that initiative and the self-starter, the lifelong learner, because I realized that a lot of these decision makers that are hiring, that's what they seek. They seek somebody that's going to take initiative, especially with ads and stuff like that. They seek somebody that's going to be a continuous learner because the algorithms, the systems are always changing.
Absolutely. And it's the attitude, and it's why, when people ask me, like I give you really good sense of the questions you're going to be asked in an interview, but I don't want you memorizing and regurgitating information. If you have this natural nerding out, which is what you're describing, I think I imagine in the interview, you got passionate, you got excited talking about all the stuff you learned, sharing your limited experience, guys. I keep saying it again and again. I'm even updating videos in the course to make it clear. You don't need $1 million e-commerce site. It's literally build a little website, run a couple ads. You're ahead of all those college graduates, and the people hiring are hungry for that. So it's great to hear that. You've heard it from if you've watched like 20 interviews, which you probably have at this point, if you're watching this video, you've heard it again and again. And I love the fact that you obviously did have a passion for this and you were able to bring that into the interview. So so tell us about that first job. Like, how did it go? How did you get the job? What was it like? Give us the details.
So to be transparent, I went on a few interviews and got denied off of a few, but it taught me for the next interview, right? I think the one thing that disqualified me was just the quantity of ad spend on the account itself, which was okay, right? Because these are bigger companies. And for me, I wasn't necessarily focused on trying to get into the biggest marketing firm out, right? I was more so trying to, my whole thought process was this: let me learn this skill. Let me move over here, and whoever gives me a chance, I'm gonna return on their investment. And I actually told my current boss that when she hired me, and when I went through the interview process of, when she saw the hunger, when she saw the passion, when she saw just the way I thought, she was willing to give me an opportunity because she also was on, the up and up. Like she was a starter business as well.
So just so I'm clear, your current job isn't the same job you got when you finished the course, right? Or is it?
This is the same job. I've been working here for about 3 years now.
Oh, you have. And so you just got a raise, or you got a different? You're at this. I got confused. I thought you started at a new company, but you're saying you got a raise.
No, okay. So I essentially I got in the door, right? That was the initial thought, and then now I've worked myself up to lead the department.
Okay. That's awesome, man. I wasn't clear. I thought you had started a new job at a new company, but you've just been growing. That's amazing. So, and I will tell you guys, if you watch other interviews, you'll see it varies from person to person. Sometimes the big companies are looking for somebody, even if they don't have that much experience. But also, it's absolutely normal to you're not going to get every interview. You're not going to get hired by every job, So, people, it's like anything. I found when you want to talk about sports or baseball, football, like nobody's 1,000% hitter. Nobody, no quarterback has 1,000 completion percentage. You got to expect you're gonna not get every interview and have that attitude of I'm gonna learn from this.
Yeah,
That's how you get the one. That's how you eventually do get hired, because you have such a good attitude. Even when you don't get hired, it just makes you stronger. So that's great.
no, I agree. And I think the one thing, honestly, to that point is I don't think the skill or my experience disqualified me. I think it was more so just a culture fit, because I realized that as well, is that a lot of these people, they're interviewing for a culture fit. Like, do you fit into the current culture of their company? So I didn't really take it personal. And a lot of the times it was more so just like, okay, the next person where I'm more of a culture fit and they value my expertise or my experience, then I would get that opportunity.
That is exactly, and I'm glad you said that. Don't take it personally. I say that in my Facebook group again and again. It's really, guys, if you don't take it personally, you will be so much stronger. You won't be wasting your time overthinking things. It really is just cultural fit. And nine out of 10 times, if I talk to someone I didn't get this job I thought I wanted, they usually go off like you did and end up getting a better job, or that's a better fit after that. Because a lot of it is just personality and people and interpersonal communication. And that's just something that the right opportunity will unfold over time.
No, 100%. And I believe that 100%. Because I like, even the interviews that I went in, I don't think I would have been as happy as I am now with the current job that I have. So it did really, I think just everything happens for a reason. And, where you're supposed to be, you're going to be, in a sense.
That's great. I totally agree. So tell us then, this is all at one company over a few years. Tell us what it was like. Like, tell us what it was like from getting hired. Like, how was it when you got hired? Like, what did the person hiring you say? Because they knew you had very little experience. And what kind of workload did they give you in the very beginning?
So I kind of got thrown in with the wolves, which I value now, because it made me move at a very quick pace and it made me learn at a very quick pace. And I've always said that the experience that I gained on the job is really where I learned a lot of the things that I needed to know now, right? I think the course set up the foundation to get in and understand the systems, but like when you're starting to, like when somebody's trusting you with like multiple thousands of dollars in ad spend, it's a different type of headspace that you kind of have to be in versus your own money, right? So early on, there was a little bit of anxiety. I was a little anxious just in regards to like learning it, because the learning curve was there. But I think learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable really began to move me faster.
That's really well said. Can you like give us a little mini example, like of, what was one situation, one client? Don't give us the name, obviously, but like, you had, I don't know, this dentist or some type of client, and like, what was it like coming in and managing this client's account with no experience? Did you have some support from the agency? Like, how did it go? Like, give us a little more detail.
So I had a lot of support, because I think she trusted me to learn the systems and learn the account and actually just grow. She saw the potential in me, right? So that's where the key was, that she saw the potential. She knew I wasn't this expert, like super, super expert, but I knew enough to learn it and to also continuously learn to become very dangerous in this space. Right. So when I came in, I was managing maybe five accounts. So at that point, it wasn't so high pressure. Like it was, but it wasn't. Right? Because then it allowed me to learn. And they also, on ad spend wise, they weren't like crazy high in ad spend. So I value that because I came in kind of with that same model of what I practiced, right? On a lower ad spend budget. How do you make this low budget go a long ways? But I think the biggest thing for me that I really had to learn is how to actually optimize these accounts. So like when you see something going wrong, how do you what do you implement to actually make it go right? Or making those decisions to where it's like, okay, do I adjust to max conversions? Do I adjust to, certain things like that? Like really making those decisions. I think that was the hardest part for me because I doubted some of the decisions early on. But I think it was natural because, it was essentially somewhat new in a sense. Like I knew what I was doing, but it was still new because now I'm managing different types of accounts, different industries. So now it's like, okay, in this industry, this may work, but in this industry,
like what were some of the industries you were managing?
Dentist, early childhood education, were like the primary ones starting off. But now I essentially started off with 5. Now we manage about 70. Now it's kind of a little bit more diverse to where we have like laundromats, we have sports apparel, we have barbecue sauce at a moment. We still have the schools. So it's a little bit more diversified, but I think just the learning curve and like I mentioned earlier, like being comfortable with being uncomfortable and understanding and not having enough pride to know what you don't know, right? Like I knew that I didn't know something, so that made me go and research it and go figure it out. Put in those hours to really understand, how do I optimize this when I see this? What do these numbers mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So over time, now that built confidence to where now I can sit in a room with particular people and express my expertise in this field. Like I now feel like I'm an expert. And I think, you know, the early times, the early years, the early trials and tribulations now place me in a position to where I truthfully feel like I'm an expert and I can explain, you know, this department or this field to anybody, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, you're the go-to guy. You're the boss. All the newbies are coming to you. That's fantastic. And I'm glad you like this company. With your experience, you know, being a department head and everything, you definitely have the option if you ever want to make a change or level up even further. Can you tell us a little about your personal life? Like, how did this affect you, your family? I don't know if you have a family of your own or your parents. Like, how did it affect your personal life getting into this field? What's it been like?
I think for me, taking this course, planning out this whole plan it's one of the most important periods of my life, to be honest, because it showed me that I can take something, apply something, and execute it. So now that translates to everything. And I think the biggest thing that I take from this is that now I have a skill in which I can like advertise my own brand when I want to build one, or I can advertise my own company when I want to like build one. So that's where I found the huge value of it now, because now I'm seeing that come into fruition. So like, as I'm building a brand, I know how to run Facebook ads. I know how to, you know, create certain content to do that. I know how to run Google ads. I understand SEO to where I can make foundational SEO edits to where I can rank, you know, higher. So I think overall personal, it's the mentality, it's the mental shift that I valued of it, because it really showed me if I can plan it out, if I can actually, you know, execute, then I can execute anything. Because at the time when I was working at the transitional living program, I told the kids that this is what I was going to do. Like I remember I took the course and I was explaining to them that look, I'm creating a website. I'm going to run ads. I'm going to learn ads, how to run to this website, and I'm going to go and move and I'm going to get a job. And I told my roommate that as well. Like my roommate saw the whole process, and we talk about it now to where it's like, wow, bro, you really did that. Like you really did it. So for me, being able to do that for myself, now it's kind of one of those like mentalities to where it's like, I can do anything. Like there's nothing that could stop me, just because I think that set that foundation for me mentally. But personal, single, don't really have a family. So it's more so just me in a chapter of really just acquiring skills. And this is a money machine. Like now I'm looking at things of like, okay, how do I build more money machines? And then the digital marketing is like my foundational money machine. Like that's the bread and butter for me.
Right. Did you tell me you were freelancing, or you were going to be freelancing on top of your day job?
No, right now I'm just working at my day job. But with the skill, I actually connect with the peers and I see how much they're potentially getting paid, right? Like I was talking to one peer, for example, I'm in this space running ads, consulting, and he was charging $2,500 to consult, $5,000 to execute, and people paid it. So for me, that was like whoa, okay, like you don't need that many clients if you really learn these skills, and because it's high demand. And then even now, one thing that I'm seeing is like, I wish I would have knew this then, is the influx of people selling like things online. Like that is a huge market that could potentially yield a huge ROI for that person. So if you can understand that skill to run those type of ads or run these ads for these people, like that point now, it's a whole different lane. It's honestly very profitable.
It's Yeah, you summed it up pretty well. I mean, there's so much. This is a really hot sector right now. And because of what happened last year, it's accelerated. There's more jobs now than when you took the course. There's almost, I think, twice as many jobs now as when you took the course. Um, but what you said before, I think that's really great, man, just speaking to your confidence. I had the same experience when I got my first job and then leveled up, and I felt like an expert in this field. My confidence, self-esteem, everything was really, it did affect me. I know that's what led me to personally be able to make my movie and do a lot of other travel and do a lot of these things. It all started with, just having this skill set and being in a field where you have this mobility and you have this ability to take your drive, your determination, and translate it into these results. It's different than like banging your head against the wall in many other fields. I think a lot of people end up doing that. So I'm happy for you. I'm glad you reached out. Like I said, Rashad, like I actually didn't even know anything about you until like a few months ago. You're one of those guys. I tell people ask me sometimes like, what's your success rate? And I'm like, look, it's an online course. I can't like make people get in touch with me. And so many people have taken the course and never told me anything. And Rashad, you were one of those people. You were like living your life, like having these great breakthroughs in 2018. But I don't think you ever told me, did you?
No, never. Because it actually was like when I reached out, I was just thinking one day, and I was like, I wonder how Seth is doing. Like, that is who I took the course from. So I actually Googled you again, and I found you, and I was like, let me reach out, because I knew what being on the other side of these type of interviews feels like, right? Like, I understand what the skepticism feels like. I get it. Like, oh, nah, you paid him. Like, I think like people have those hesitations with stuff like this, but in reality, like that's why I wanted to actually share my story, because I had the skepticism, I executed, got a job, and now my life has changed forever. Like, I don't have to worry about getting a job ever again in my life. And not even because of the job that I have, but because of the skill that I have, right? Like, I could freelance if I wanted to freelance, because I understand that the demand is there, right? So that's where it's like, I felt like I had to come back and give you your flowers, because at the end of the day, you did give me that foundation, right? And my current boss actually found me on LinkedIn. Right. So like your setup of the bio, your setup of, getting the certifications, your setup of, connecting in the forums and getting the connections themselves. I know for a fact that helped me, because I didn't reach out to her. Randomly, she just messaged me and I was like, whoa, wow. And that led to it. So it wasn't like I even applied for this job. It was she saw me on LinkedIn because she was searching on LinkedIn. So that's where it's like, when I started to think about all those things, like, I had to come back and give you your flowers, because I'm now in a position to where I'm good. Like, I'm good. And I remember where I was when I was trying to make that decision of like, what are you going to do? Right. Because this is a period of like being lost in a sense. Right. Because yeah, you have the degree. Yeah, you have this stuff, but what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to put food on the table? What career are you going to get? Are you just going to hop around from job to job? Like, what is going to be your like solid foundation in this point? So then finding this, it shifted a lot for me, man, because now even as I, have dreams of building my own brand, I now have the expertise to formulate a whole strategy in marketing, right? I have the expertise to be able to do the ads myself, understand how to create the custom audiences on Facebook, understand how to pivot with like the Apple iOS update, just because of me just continuously learning, man. So no, you didn't know. You didn't even know I existed. But I felt the need to honestly just come back and just say thank you, because it shifted the trajectory of my life, to be honest with you. And that's not me just saying it because it sounds good. Like, I really have a skill now that I built upon, and now I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Well, Rashad, I'm very happy for you. Thank you for giving me my flowers. I never heard that phrase before, but I know what you mean. And I appreciate. I'd be skeptical too if I was watching all these interviews. I realize this. I don't mention this too much, but I've taken some courses, and I've taken courses myself, and I know about the course space, and there is a lot of bullshit, frankly. One thing I realized about this course that's different, that I'm proud of, is that there's a lot of other courses that cost more and even probably make more money for their course creators, but I can't think of one where as much net worth has been created really by my students. You know, like some courses, they'll see like one testimonial or two or three of the one person that like had a good luck on becoming some internet millionaire or something. But these jobs are real, they're abundant, and the skills are needed, you know, and they're with real companies like, you know, you're talking about. And I think it's hilarious. You didn't mention till the very end that you didn't even apply for this job. you like, you were sought out with nothing on your LinkedIn, probably, or very little. You know, you didn't have years of experience, and that's fantastic. You know, it's just a testament to how much people need these skills. And I'm happy that you reached out.
No, I don't mean to cut you off, but it was honestly just a setup though. Like I think picking like when the freelance, right? So like your whole system, I don't know if it's the same now, but the whole system when I went through it is like, you know, you pick something that you're passionate about, you create that website, you run ads to it. So like even in that self, like that gave me the power to speak on something I'm passionate about, because it was, you know, regarding mental health, and that's something that I'm passionate about. So like even when you say like there was a lot on my LinkedIn, honestly, I think there was a lot on my LinkedIn based off of your format and your structure, right? Your formula. Because that out of the box, like those things made a difference, right? The bio, that made a difference for me. The connections made a difference for me.
I'm happy to say that. It sounds better coming from you than for me to toot my own horn again and again. But it's true. And that's why I tell my students in my course, you know, you just have to do everything in the course. There's a lot. It's 14, 15 hours of videos, but you have to do, if you skip that step, you're missing out on a really powerful way to communicate. And you're right. When you generate your own experience, it is very powerful. And I'm really happy that you understood. You know, I'm just updating. I'm always updating the videos, and I'm just re-updating the generate your experience section, because I want it to make it a little simpler for people, to make it clear that you can put together a website about something you're passionate about, but to keep it simple. You know, don't get you don't have to make a 20-page website or anything like that. Do you, by the way, I'm just curious, do you have your website? Is it still up, or did you like let it go?
I let it go, but I'm repurposing it now. You know, now that I know how to essentially market, I'm repurposing. Right. So I'm essentially in the process of building a whole brand at this point in time.
Right.
With all the tools that I've acquired this far.
That's fantastic. Yeah, man, it's great. Well, is it okay if my viewers reach out to you if they have any questions for you on LinkedIn?
100%. 100%. 100%. I actually have like current students reach out to me now, and I try to give back, because at the end of the day, I know where they were, you know, when they were really trying to get a job, or just really trying to weed through this whole process. I know what it's like. So no, they can definitely reach out to me, and I'm willing to give any advice that I have in regards to how I'm seeing this whole field, you know, expand, or the direction of it. 100%.
That's great, man. I appreciate it. And, you know, it's so valuable. That's one of the things I'm really proud of. I mean, when you were in the course 2 years ago, there was a great community in the forum. It's expanded so much. Now it's the forum plus the Facebook group, plus there's coaching calls with my alumni. Alumni come back with job openings all the time. It's really great. It's really organic. So like you guys watching, I mean, the opportunity to connect with a guy like Rashad, who's now department leader, is really a rare opportunity. And it's also a testament to how quickly you can advance in this field. But I think just connecting with someone like you, who's a real person, and getting that reassurance is really, really powerful. Because there are so many questionable ways of making money these days. I mean, we're not promoting crypto investing here. We're promoting a real skill set. And I hope the crypto fans don't yell at me about that. But, you know, we're talking about jobs. Ultimately, a job, that's what I realized about that's so crazy, and why, you know, the course is still so underpriced. The job is $1 million investment. This is even a low paying job of 30 grand, but, you know, making 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a year for the next 40 years of your life. That's $1 million investment. That's $1 million, you know, that's not making a $20 sale, or, you know, 2% gain. It's really powerful. And beyond the money, it's powerful in how it can transform your confidence and how you feel about yourself and what you can do. So, I'm excited to see what you do with your websites. And, you know, I know that when you're ready to freelance, you're going to do it. That's the other thing, guys. Sometimes, you know, I've worked a day job where I was getting paid well, and it's really satisfying many times to just know you're getting paid what you're worth, enjoy your job, and come home at night and enjoy your life. And then sometimes if you're really hungry, that's when you want to do freelancing on top of that. And then you're like, you know, in that hustle mode. But you have those options when you have these skill sets. And, you know, you've really, you know, reminded us of that and voiced it very well here.
Yeah, no, I think if I were to just leave like people with one thing, I would say don't look at this as a course. Look at this as a skill set acquisition. Like you're acquiring a skill, like, and this is a high value skill and a high paying skill. And I know that in the industry and even the way the world is moving, digital marketing, I don't think is going anywhere. And I think that's what made the decision easier for me is because I understood, I saw the direction of digital marketing, but now that I'm in it, like it's just going to be a huge concept for a long time. So this is a skill set, not a course. Because I actually even looked at the price of the course now, and I still would have paid it like what it is. Just because, like you said, yes, it's an investment. It's an investment for a salary, or it's an investment. Honestly, one account can potentially even return on that in 1 month, in my opinion, if you freelance. Because I understand kind of the price. So it's just like this is a skill set.
Yeah, man. I mean, as I say, you know, my price is going quote unquote up in August, which is still less, you know, it's less than any competitor. It's a percentage of the cost of a college course. One course would be like $5,000 or $6,000. Degree is $60,000. And your first job, you've made 40 times your investment. But anyway, I've already talked about that enough. But yeah, man, I think it's great, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy that you got in touch with me. Thanks for reaching out. You know, if you guys are watching this and you've taken my course and you've never reached out to me, please hit me up on LinkedIn. Let me know. It's always thrilling to hear about people who, you know, had this type of positive change in their life, and I love to hear about it. So thanks again, Rashad, and let's stay in touch. And you know, we'll do a follow up in a year or so.
No, 100%, man. I appreciate your time. And like I said, thank you, because it has returned. The investment that I put in myself, the investment that I put in the course, it has returned. And I literally have zero regrets on it. So just thank you for giving me the skill and showing me the skill, right? Because I didn't know about digital marketing until I actually saw your course. So thank you, because it really opened my eyes to a whole world of opportunity. So thank you.
You're welcome, man. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, thank you so much, Seth.